there, guys. We are back again today with 5 Shy Guys reviews. So today, as always, we're going to be reviewing a sort of movie. This today, though, will be a very special kind of movie, a TV movie that was brought up into all these different clips throughout the whole entire season, but then brought together for one whole entire 90-minute TV movie. This TV movie is called Whitest Kid You Know, The Civil War on Drugs. Now, the whole entire movie itself, it was all right. It wasn't that bad. I think that The Civil War on Drugs could have had a much better storyline to it and a much better ending. Now, for the most of it, Civil War on Drugs, I laughed throughout the whole entire thing. From the beginning, it caught my eye from the explicit language that it had, all the way up to the end where, not going to spoil anything, but people got pretty high. Now, throughout the film, it was all right. The beginning was all right. The middle part of it, where it wasn't really the climax yet, but it was the initial problem, it was definitely one of my favorite parts of the film. Not only did they get sidetracked so many times to the point where it's almost as if it's a Family Guy type side joke, it got to the point where it wasn't even a sidetrack joke anymore. It was just its own separate line that didn't have to do with anything to this original line that brought it up to it. It was just this middle school type humor that entertained me throughout the whole entire initial problem. When it got to the climax, that's when everything started to unravel a bit. It wasn't at the point where it was a climax and you could understand everything that was going on with the film. It was at the point where I was at the climax and you had no clue how it got to the climax and where it was going to go from that point. Overall, for the ending, it wasn't that sudden, but it was basically just a simple one person speaks type line, and then the other person just starts to yell at them with that sort of yelling type humor along with it, which isn't the best implementation that they could have put into there, but they definitely tried their hardest for having a funny moment at the end to sort of wrap up the whole entire ordeal. So coming on to the interview as well, we have got Wampy Williams, a connoisseur of doing very well with reviews in the past.
Hey, how's it going?
Welcome, Wampy. So we are talking about the Civil War on Drugs today, and I know that you have seen it. You have sent me many texts before watched this film, and I just watched it the other day, and let me tell you, I was not disappointed.
You really shouldn't have been. It's a great film.
So tell me about your thoughts on the film. What did you feel about it?
Well, I felt it accurately caught measure of what the war was like, what the war really should have been in the eyes of multiple people.
I mean, I guess that's kind of... You did know it was only in the eyes of those two people that saw it in that way.
Well, you're wrong. It's in the eyes of the two main characters, plus everyone that they meet along the way. Pony Express, for example. Even though they only had like about a good minute view, they saw the war as the way that they saw the war on drugs.
Well, I mean, what you're talking about is how they're seeing on the drugs. What I'm saying is that it's just the two main characters who saw it as in it was the war on drugs. Everyone else saw it as just the war.
Oh, you'd think, but when everyone got high, it shows that everyone knew that it was about drugs.
So you're saying it's basically like a conspiracy theory type thing where everyone was high in this whole entire war.
In a way, yes.
Okay, that seems kind of logical about it. So going on some other reviews that I found online, we've got a woman by the name of Katarina C. Gomes, or Jones, whichever one is the perfect pronunciation for the last name right there. And she said, and I quote, "I freaking love this. Ben Core, get in here." Now, originally, I had no clue who Ben Core was. Couldn't figure it out. And then I decided to actually go on the rest of the page and found a guy by the name of Ben Core who was quoting a specific part of the movie and said, "Don't call me girl brains, Robert E. Lee." And so that was actually on a website called Mubi, which I assume is just anyone can rate whatever film they want to and can say what they felt about the film. Would you agree with this quote, Wampy?
You know, I really do agree with it. No one likes to be called girl brains, especially the leader of a great army for the new continental United States.
Yeah, that couldn't have been said better. I truly cannot agree with you there. I mean, cannot disagree with you there.
I was going to say.
Yes. Along with that, Rotten Tomatoes, as everyone knows, the site where any critic can put in their own review of a movie and then it generates a specific score for the movie.
It's the Yelp of film.
Basically, that's what it is, such as how Get Out has a 100% review, and I will never understand that. So, seeing the Civil War on drugs. Now, it has not been critiqued by any professional in the business, but it has been given a review, which is 4.3 out of 5, or as 83% of the people who would watch it said that they liked it. They really enjoyed it. Now, I was thinking, what can you compare this to show how well it is to any other sort of TV movie? I couldn't think of anything else within the field of a sort of like satirical, comedical, like type genre rather than Nathan For You. Have you ever heard of that show?
Yes, I have.
Now, did you see the season finale for season 4?
I did.
And to anyone who doesn't know this, it was a 2-hour-long episode about the main character Nathan trying to find a long-lost love for this one person that he met back in season 1 or season 2. It was a completely awkward episode like it is for every other episode of the show, but this one was just special because not only was it a TV movie/documentary, it was just filled to the brink with all of these funny jokes or all these funny moments where you would either have to give yourself a few minutes to figure out what they meant, or you just knew from the bat what it was, and you were just laughing in your seat. And looking at Nathan For You, 94% in total of the whole entire series, users said that they liked it. But if we go down to season 4, just in its entirety, it has a perfect score. And comparing that to the Civil War on drugs, assuming that season 4 will also have about 28 user ratings, and we can check this out right now, 21 user ratings. Season 4 has a 100% tomato meter score.
You know, there's another movie I'd like to compare Civil War on Drugs to.
What is that?
Now, it's not satirical or any way like the Civil War on Drugs is.
Of course.
I'd like to say the Jimmy Timmy Power Hour series.
The Jimmy Timmy Power Hour series from about 2007 Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
Well, let me check that out right now. So we got Jimmy Timmy.
You see, it's very similar because the problems that they create is what causes them to go on the entire adventure in the first place.
Oh my God, they actually have Jimmy Timmy Power Hour on Rotten Tomatoes. Who is spending their time critiquing Jimmy Timmy Power Hour?
What's it at?
It's at a 68% for the users that liked it.
Not too bad.
Tomato meter is not available, which I understand that. I understand that in its entirety. Its runtime is 51 minutes, but if you compare it to a typical Fairly Odd Parents Jimmy Neutron episode, that is about the same time as it would be comparing a length of a Whitest Kid You Know episode to the Whitest Kid You Know featured presentation, or to the Nathan For You 2-hour documentary. Jesus Christ. Jimmy Timmy Power Hour. This is... Oh my God. So yeah. Also, it has more ratings, more user ratings than both the Civil War on Drugs and Nathan For You season 4 combined. It has 50 user ratings.
Oh, holy hell!
It has a 68% of users.
I never would have expected.
And it has 3.6 out of 5 for the average rating.
You know, if there were more ratings for both of them, they might be lower to the standards of Jimmy Timmy.
You know what? I just completely give up on this. I'm just looking at the Rotten Tomatoes website right now, and I just see Jimmy Neutron's and Timmy Turner's face just in different reality. I'm leaving this tab. This was just so.
See, that's why it's the Yelp of film.
I mean, it was a comedical film. I will give you that. I guess people just like the Civil War on Drugs better than they enjoyed Jimmy Timmy Power Hour. So, all that information was found on Rotten Tomatoes within the last Jimmy Timmy Power Hour, I assume, was...
At least 2011.
Yeah, 2004 was the original date that it aired. So, assuming that it's 2004 to now that people reviewed the film, and I assume that wasn't 50 people reviewed the film all at once, then you had a pretty fair amount of time to get that review in. For Nathan For You Season 4 and for the Civil War on Drugs, They both had about, I'd say, the same amount of time. Season 4 was actually a lot less time than Civil War on Drugs. But still, 21 user ratings for this Nathan For You Season 4 compared to the 24 for Civil War on Drugs. That's pretty close. Closer than Jimmy Timmy Power Hour. So, that was all on Rotten Tomatoes. Now, the next quote is not really a perfect type quote in my sense. This one's from Mr. Jar Jar Binks on Reddit. And it is, "Where can I watch/buy the Civil War on Drugs? I can't find it anywhere." Was one of my favorite skits. Just saying that's one of his favorite skits. Would you also claim that's one of your favorite skits, Swampy?
I wouldn't say it's a favorite skit of mine. I'd say it's more of a favorite mini-series of mine.
Okay, I mean,
because
yeah,
a skit is more of a one-time thing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that you're kind of right there. So I mean, so either way, it's still like one of the favorites. Yeah, so that's still pretty much true for that. That was in 2016 that the man said that. So this man should still pretty much be enjoying that skit. Did you also hear that they are working on a WKUK movie?
I did not.
Yes, hopefully they can succeed farther to the standards than the Civil War on Drugs. But considering that the Civil War on Drugs is, in my opinion, and most likely your opinion too, an all-time classic, took to the top of the charts at the beginning of the film. There was nothing better than it. You can't go any better than Civil War on Drugs.
I don't think anything can go better than Jimmy Timmy Power Hour, to be honest.
Well, I mean, considering the fact that Jimmy Timmy Power Hour had a lot of loopholes in it, to the fact how the Civil War on Drugs only had a pretty bad initial problem and a pretty bad ending.
Now, are we talking a theatrical release or just another TV movie?
Most likely another TV movie. So I'm thinking that it won't be in a sort of miniseries type form. I think we'll just be in a 1.5 hour block frame form. So yeah, so we got that. That's pretty much it for all the other reviews I found online. Basically, since this isn't the most popular film in the world, well, film/miniseries. Besides the fact, so would you also claim that this film, even though it is an all-time classic and it took to the top of everyone's films, that this is their favorite from the beginning of the film, that everyone knew was going to be their new favorite film? Would you also claim that this film does have a few spots in it that could be improved?
Oh, definitely.
What do you feel could be improved about this film?
I think the first thing I'd improve upon is giving Slave Bob a lot more scenes. He was only in the very beginning just talking about his love for weed and giving the guys weed. Well,
you also have to remember, after they became the Dixie Dukes, it shows the slave like just on a tree. He's saying, "Oh, the boys are at it again." And then you hear the guard dogs just like start chasing him.
Yeah, but they could have given him a slightly bigger role, in my opinion.
What do you feel could have been the bigger role for him?
I think he could have been maybe one of those slaves who's been put to work like in the war. So when the war breaks out, they decide to put him along with the boys in fighting for freedom.
Now, how many people from the South? And I'm not sure if you know this off the top of your head. I'm not sure. I definitely know I don't. But how many slaves from the South that went to the North to get free, be free? How many of them do you know joined the army afterwards?
The Northern Army or the Southern Army?
The Northern Army.
I'd like to say at least.
Well, I mean, do you know this fact, or are you just giving an opinion?
I'm giving a guess. I'd like to say at least 30% minimum.
Okay, I don't know where that percentage came from.
Because you got to remember, a lot of the times the Northern armies would take the slaves from the South and free them, along with saying that they'll provide their freedom if they work for the Northern Army.
I mean, okay, that's pretty fair. The way that I feel it could have been better if we had more scenes for Bob. In my opinion, I think that the whole entire amount of scenes limited to Bob in the original series was actually perfect.
It's quite fair.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I think if you wanted to have an ending for it, I think it could have been that he walked past the two main boys, Trevor and Sam, just high off his ass. Like, he's just like, "Oh, Trevor, Sam, are you really there?" And then he just tries like swiping at them or something like that. I think that would have been a much better use of him in the ending than having him in the war. I think having him in the war would be a very comedical type sense for some scenes, but I just couldn't see that happening. I think though, for a better way for the initial plot, since that's like my main point for why it wasn't that well. I did enjoy how Trevor and Sam did send out a message to the North, and they used pretty much like middle school type slang for it. I enjoyed that part. And I did enjoy how they nicknamed the Battle of Bull Run. That was also a very, very nice part in my opinion. But I think it's just the fact how like there wasn't any showing of the Battle of Bull Run. I think if you were to have like Trevor or Sam pull out some sort of like homemade megaphone that was just out of like, I don't know, maybe newspaper or something like that, and then they started like yelling at everyone like, hey, stop fighting, and then you see someone like spear someone else, or just be Timmy Williams, since he plays a million characters in that movie. You see Timmy Williams spear Timmy Williams. I think if you were to have something like that, that would be a pretty funny scene.
I can see that. Yeah. Now, I'd like to point out throughout this entire thing, I haven't seen my microphone go up or down in levels at all.
Well, here's the thing. Yours is a tiny bit smaller. But that's besides the point that we were talking about. What I am talking... Wait. No, yours... Yeah, you can talk.
I don't see it at all.
You see it now. You see it.
Now I do, but I didn't see it on the side.
Either way. That's besides the point. So I think in total, this was a very good movie. Nothing besides a few minor spots that they could have changed up, could have made it to be where it is in the almighty Hall of Fame,
along with Jimmy Timmy
Power Hour, in God's cabinet of his favorite films, because it's currently in the favorite films of everyone's cabinet, in Kim Jong-un's cabinet, in the King of Saudi Arabia's cabinet, in President Trump's cabinet. Like, they all enjoy that film.
Are we talking President Trump's cabinet of films or President Trump's cabinet
in both. The Civil War on Drugs is his new Secretary of Education. But we can all agree that everyone enjoys that film except for God. Because it's those minor things that he just wasn't in the movie. That's not putting on his best film list. That's all that he needs. He just needs to have those 2 scenes fixed up. Just have something else with Bob, and then fix up the Battle of Bull Run.
Well, if the rumors are true of the new Whitest Kids You Know movie, then maybe they'll expand upon that.
Maybe they will expand upon it.
Maybe they'll make it better.
I think if you have Trevor Moore's imagination in the next Whitest Kids You Know movie, as it was for this, I don't think that you can do anything wrong. It just seems to be like you have a pile of good ideas and you just blend them all together to create this perfect movie. So yeah, I think overall the movie was perfect. Had a few scenes where it was just kind of meh, but other than that, you can't get any better with this type of satirical comedy these days. Okay, well, that's it for 5 Shy Guys reviews. Join us next time when we're going to be reviewing The House Bunny, unrated and explicit. Thank you very much.
Goodbye.